Hey everyone, this is Scott from Forgot to Grow. Well, welcome to our Legion Season 3, Episode 4 Thoughts video. Just finished watching the latest episode of Legion, and I'm just going to be sharing my general thoughts. In this episode, we see the consequences of David abusing Switch's time-traveling abilities. And those consequences are time demons. That could have had a cooler name, but it's very apt description of what these characters were. So we spend this episode just a whole lot of time stuff going on with these time demons eating time, and that affects that affects time around all the characters in the story, because, well, obviously when you lose time, it's going to cause some little glitches. And so I really liked this episode because I thought it was a little fun, different take with time, especially having like these time demons and a lot of things. Like we've had different, like in Doctor Who, they have certain time things, and other shows in The Flash, they've got they tend to have different things that keep you from messing with time too much. So I really like that this show made sure to include something with these time demons, and I like that they're a little bit different than, your standard. They're just a monster that comes and attacks you for, messing with time. These ones, in a sense, are a little bit more mischievous, it seems, a little bit more like trickstery, which I really liked. I thought the design of them was pretty cool, creepy, but cool. But I really liked that it was, I guess now that I'm thinking of it, it does have that kind of the Doctor Who's, crying angels, weeping angels, from Doctor Who kind of feel with, but instead of it's when you don't look, it's time thing. That's not the point. The point is I really enjoyed like the kind of, I don't want to say gimmick, but the way they used time with these time demons that they introduced, and how like Switch couldn't really do anything about it, which was an interesting thing because she has the ability to enter the Hall of Time, as she calls it, but she can't really do much about these time demons. I also like that we see Farouk seems to know what's going on with them. We saw obviously in the beginning of the season that he does know a little bit about time travel and has some ability to control, has some, not, I don't want to say travel time, but some ability to access a similar space that Switch accesses in order to you do time travel. So it's like a similar, it's a little vague, but he knows about time travel, and we see at one point he knows about the time demon. So that was an interesting little thing that they added. Some of the stuff I didn't like in this episode was, this is probably the first time I'm just like 100% not on, like, definitely not on board with David anymore. Like, he's gone a little too far. Before I was, I thought certain things he had done were a little too far, but now I'm like, you can't have your followers calling you daddy. That's just, no, David, no. And that was just weird. That was just a weird part of this episode they added in, and that kind of turned me off. And then we spent the rest of this episode also with David also really believing that he's God, not a God, which I could have accepted. That's, that's a little bit different than thinking you are the one and only God. Is a very, very different concept than just thinking, oh, you are a God, because he does have God-like powers, but I wouldn't say he's not God, he's not the one and only, the Alpha and Omega, as he refers to himself at one point. So that stuff makes me like, ooh, David, okay, ooh, you need to bring it back a little bit. Bring it back in. You need to talk to somebody about this, because you're going a little too far, David. But it was still interesting to see that, because we've seen some progression of that through the season, but I thought this was the first time, for me at least, that I was just completely like, nope, David, stop, completely stop, full stop. Like, before with just having a cult, I'm like, okay. But now I'm like, oh, no, you can't have him call you daddy. That's too far, David. Too far. So yeah, that part didn't love, but we do see at one point the time demons ended up kind of messing with Dave a little bit, making him think that he's seeing his mom, that he's able to, maybe affect the past, but they're just messing with him. But I'm curious to know if what he learned was actual facts, or if this is just something the time demons made up. Like, do they know what his mom's like past would be? That was just a little bit of we'll go way too far trying to think about that one. We also see the time demons trick Sid into believing she's talking to her younger self, so that was alright to see. There's a lot of younger, older Sid stuff going on all the time. We're just used to it by this point. We had future Sid last season, and in the first season we had a bunch of flashbacks. We already saw the younger Sid before, but it was I like that they at least brought the same actress back to play her, so that was interesting. I really liked the style they use with when Farouk takes I always forget the one guy's name. The guy who walks around with the cane and the suit, and Carrie, female Carrie, to go try and stop the rift that the time demons were coming out of. I like the style they used, kind of like almost like a silent film with like a stop motion and like flip book style. I don't know exactly way to frame it, but I enjoyed that, like the way they framed that one, having it like I said, kind of like a flip book style. So I enjoyed seeing that. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this episode for its like creative use of time and these time demons as like the kind of consequences for messing with time too much. So I like that. It did end pretty like quickly. Like David just kind of realized, yeah, I can do this, and then which is a lot of what happens with David. A lot is just he has to remember that he can pretty much do anything if he thinks about it hard enough, which I guess is why he probably thinks he's God. It's the whole thing. But anyways, that's all my thoughts on this episode of Legion. Sure, let me know in the comments below what you thought about this. Did you like the time demons or not? Sure, let me know in the comments below. Thanks again for joining me today. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and have a good one.